This video is sponsored by Fiverr. This is the world's largest string shooter, and I built it out of a motorcycle. Hang on, what's a string shooter, you ask? Sorry, I just assumed you had seen these plastered all over your social media like I had. I don't think they're popular because of their long list of practical uses, they just look awesome. It's rope. You know, floppy rope, suspended in mid-air, and it looks and behaves like it's alive. The unexpected and gravity-defying properties of the string shooter got me thinking, can I make it bigger? What kind of weird behaviors would it exhibit? And just how much bigger could it really go? Well, it's not just as simple as spinning rope, and it's gonna take a lot of power and planning. We better start with the little stuff. The floppiness of string or rope is due to its flexible internal structure. We depend on this floppiness. It allows the rope to make knots or loop through pulleys. It's flexible in all directions except one, which is critical. Otherwise, it would just be goo. Rope really doesn't get enough credit. Without it, rock climbers would fall, suspenders would slip, and two Irish brothers would have met an untimely end.
Do you know what we need? Some rope.
We've become so dependent on the predictability of rope that when it does something that seems totally unpredictable, it stands out. So here's how I understand it to work. As these wheels spin, they both throw the rope out and pull it back in. The top arc has a trajectory similar to a thrown object, like a ball. But as it reaches the end, it begins to encounter the pull of the rope as it heads back in. But this doesn't actually explain how it holds that shape up in the air. As an Action Lab video showed that string shooters don't work the same in a vacuum chamber. You should check out that video for a more detailed explanation. Also, check out Steve Mold's video, as he was the one who told me about it. Regardless of the exact mechanisms at play, the real question is, how do we make it bigger? Rather than waste time going with an electric motor, only to inevitably need a bigger one and then an even bigger one, I decided to jump straight to the most powerful portable motor that I had lying around, my 1993 FCR 600. Motorcycles are basically a motor with wheels, and I figured the 90 horsepower that mine had would do the trick. But now I needed to figure out a way to use that power to spin the rope, and that's where my friend David comes in.
Hi.
You might remember him as the guy who helped me lift a car using my hot glue web shooter. David was gracious enough to let me use his shop again. Now I just had to get my bike there. Oh, it's a little cold out. David's shop is the perfect place for this project for two main reasons. One, he has motorcycle lifts for securely mounting and converting my FCR into a rope spinner, and two, he also has a giant parking lot for testing the spinner once it's built. In order to get the power from the motorcycle to the rope, I decided to mount a shaft between two bearings and hang it off the end of the stand with room for attaching a wheel or a pulley. The motorcycle wheel would be suspended above the shaft by a jack and then lowered onto it so that the motorcycle wheel would transfer its rotational energy to the shaft. I initially started with an 8-inch wheel. This meant that the wheel would move almost 11 times faster than the motorcycle wheel. I did this to limit the amount of torque pulling the rope to prevent an accident, but quickly realized that it was just too fast, so I ordered a 4-inch wheel instead. However, in the process of removing the shaft from the old wheel, I dropped this shaft onto my big toe. I was barely able to walk for several days after this. It's amazing how being unable to get almost any work done makes you realize just how important it is to have good help.
Which is why I hired 10 different voice actors to help me voice the ad segment for today's sponsor, Fiverr.
Fiverr connects you with talented freelancers from around the world
who offer a wide range of high-quality digital services.
Whether it's voice work, website design, animation, illustration.
Fiverr is absolutely packed full of people who do high-quality work quickly and for a great price.
And that's incredibly valuable to someone who's as busy as I am.
Fiverr's website and app makes connecting with freelancers a breeze.
My wife and I had a ton of fun listening to the plethora of different voice talent that was available.
And their sample clips, detailed profile information, pictures, and user reviews
made us feel super comfortable selecting who to work with before we ever even contacted them.
So, maximize the quality of all your creative endeavors by heading to fiverr.co/JoelCreates to get 10% off using the code JoelCreates.
That's fiverr.co/JoelCreates
to get 10% off with code JoelCreates.
Go check out their awesome services and help support my channel in the process.
Thanks, Fiverr.
So this big wheel needs a smaller wheel to pinch the rope, otherwise it'll slip. So I stole a longboard truck off of my skateboard. By positioning the wheel at different heights, I can adjust the launch angle of the rope. Too far back, and the rope all collects right next to the stand and then bunches up. Too far out, and we get way too shallow of an arc.
Now before this project, I kept thinking, why has no one done this before?
Well, it turns out that one guy actually did do an 80-foot loop.
But I mean, why had nobody tried it with a 100-foot loop, or a 200-foot loop, or more? Here's why.
It turns out that launching the rope isn't too hard. From my first basement tests to my early tests at David's shop, the rope seemed all too eager to fly out into the air. Where the problems really start is when you try and get it to come back. If you've ever pulled earbuds out of your pocket, you know just how easy it is for the universe to tie a knot. Plus, the tension on this rope is making it behave more like a solid. Combine that with the ridiculous speed that the rope is traveling, and you're bound to have some feed issues. I tried tubes. I tried funnels. I tried designing my own bearing feed system, which, while it looked cool, was basically useless. The rollers of a heavy-duty winch fairlead were no match for the chaotic nature of the returning rope. Heck, I even tried using David to help stabilize the loop at one point. I was getting pretty desperate.
Yeah, I don't even know right now. I don't know. The rope does not want to feed properly, no matter what I do. Starting to wonder if this is all a waste of time.
Don't give up. Don't give up. You can do it.
And with a project like this, simple answers were just not easy to come by, even though we had plenty of theories.
Looks like regardless of how fast it goes, it doesn't really affect the size of it.
In spite of all this difficulty, I decided to press onward. I tried multiple versions of feed systems, changed up the angles, and even experimented with different rope materials and weave patterns. Progress was slow, and I think it's because when you scale up a system like this, there's more variables and opportunities for things to go wrong. On top of that, a project like this just takes more time. Especially when you're walking dozens or even hundreds of feet just to reset the rope to give it one more try. But the slow and uncertain progress made my successful tests that much sweeter.
That was the best one yet. That was like a full loop.
I had slowly and painfully gone from a tiny loop in my basement to a loop so big that I had to move my bike out of the shop.
This is crazy. This is crazy. Whoa! I stepped on it. I'm caught in it.
Now, I'm still not sure what exactly made it work properly, but the angle, eye-loop guides, getting the speed just right, and getting up to speed quickly all helped me finally achieve my first 100-foot loop.
Oh my god! Like, it didn't even have problems. You just doubled it.
I mean, that was 100 feet, so that would already be the record.
That was stupid big.
That was stupid big! So is a 100-foot loop big enough? No. If you're gonna go all out, you've gotta set yourself up for success. And that means taking full advantage of the space that you've been given. To make sure everything was set up properly, I began the final test day with a 100-foot loop warm-up.
This is bigger than I remember. All right, are we ready? Woo! 100 foot, check. Time to switch to 200 foot. Well, 196 foot. I don't know why Amazon would sell 196 foot length of rope, but they do, and I bought it. Oh my goodness. You know, looking at this now, I'm already starting to doubt if this will work.
I got this black rope because I thought it would contrast better with the sky, and the first run was definitely easier to see, but that might also have been because the rope was super wobbly.
Oh damn! Dude, that is ridiculous looking! Did you see that?
Yielding some crazy patterns as it struggled to get up to speed.
Ah,
I think that one you'll be fine as long as you're going a little fast.
It was too floppy to really feed properly. That looked ridiculous though.
With the second test, we finally hit critical mass.
Woo! Yeah, baby! Holy sh! Oh boy.
Even with the rope neatly laid out, the addition of a third guide, and running in second gear, the rope still took its sweet time reaching that perfect 196-foot loop.
Come on! Come on!
But eventually, it did.
It's kind of working! It's kind of working! Oh my gosh! Wow!
Now, you might think I'm crazy. I mean, I got basically 200 feet, mission accomplished, end of story, let's all go home, right? But I did spend the next couple hours trying to go even bigger, and here's what I accomplished. I played with cardboard.
Oh gosh.
Shaved a wheel. Burned my fingers.
Like it may have done the trick. That's hot.
Learned to laugh at myself.
Yeah, I know.
Drank a juice box.
Could I get a juice box, dear?
Fought helplessly with the invisible forces of nature. And managed to blast my drone out of the sky twice. David was a huge help. I can't believe he put up with me messing around in his shop day after day. Please go like his shop Facebook page. And thanks again to Fiverr for sponsoring. Head to ferr.co/JoelCreates to check out the services available to you and get 10% off with code JoelCreates. And to properly thank you for watching this far, here's a behind-the-scenes story from my web shooter video.
It was funny because I remember one guy came in and he just walked in trying to get like service done, and here's Joel in like a Spider-Man suit just. And then he's like, I'll come back.